Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today about boosting Amazon sales. So we're going to talk with some great approaches with Mina Elias from Trivium and Talal Hassan from Brand Together. Before we make official intros, I just want to let you all know that we're going to be recording this webinar. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat along the way so we can keep it engaging. I'm Kristen Hutcherson. I'm the partnership manager with Ecom Engine, and Ecom Engine's been developing software for Amazon sellers and brands since 2007. So our tools are Feedback 5, which is an automated feedback and review software. We also have Seller Pulse, which is our latest tool. It provides listing alerts like the buy box or dimension changes. And then we have Restock Pro, our inventory software for FBA sellers. So we will start and let you, Mina and Talal, introduce yourselves. Go ahead.
I guess I can start. My name is Mina. Like Kristen mentioned, I own Trivium Group, which is an Amazon agency. We help brands grow and scale on Amazon through all different types of ways, through their PPC, their DSP, their creative optimization, reviews, all that kind of stuff. And just an overall strategy. I've been in the game since 2018. I started with my own supplement brand, MMA Nutrition, grew it, scaled it, built a team around it, figured out how to grow a supplement brand on Amazon, and then started helping others with the agency. We help about 185 brands right now.
Great, great. And I'm going to share my screen too, so we have that. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah, good.
Cool. And I'm Talal.
Go ahead, Talal.
Oh, sure. I'm Talal Assad. I'm with Brand Together. Been on Amazon since 2016. First couple of years as the head of growth and digital at a energy drink startup. That's where I cut my teeth on Amazon, and then jumped on into helping other brands from there. We're an omni-channel agency, but focused mainly on Amazon and Shopify. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, well, great. There's just our little slide about Ecom Engine, and we'll go ahead and just get started. So why don't we start with, I've got a few questions, why don't one of you start about what metrics should sellers watch to increase sales on Amazon? Any tips on improving conversion rates?
Bilal, I'll let you start this one.
Is this the first slide here? We'll go down.
Yeah, my slides are like on the second half of your questions.
Okay.
When we get into like the search query dash stuff.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So just I think there's a lot of things that, the people on this call, I recognize a lot of the names here. So I think we all kind of know what we need to do, what we don't need to do. It's a lot of the same I would say strategies and tips, but if we're going to talk from a very high level, the very first thing is just like really know your product and know who your customer is. That way you're going to be able to better write and better portray exactly what and who you're trying to target. The optimal keywords around those should be stuffed within the title. Sorry, not the title, but within the listing as a whole, and the images. I always like to say bullets for the bots, pictures for the people. So a lot of times just to make sure that when you are showing those images, I've heard a lot of different statistics, but there's one that people keep settling on, which is like that 3.6 seconds from brand introduction to purchase on Amazon, or they'll stay on your listing for 3.6 seconds. I don't know how accurate that really is, but that just gives you a really idea that people's attention spans are very small. And, we're living right now in that age of TikTok and Instagram and just like constant scrolling. So attention spans are small, making sure that you're able to like really, really quickly communicate your unique selling propositions and get that sale pretty quickly. So there's tons of levers to pull, right? We could talk about fundamental marketing, price and product and promotions, but if we're talking specifically on Amazon, I really like to focus a lot on making sure that the images communicate to that end buyer what you're trying to purchase, and then that you are getting discovered as well.
Yeah, and that's really good. I mean, I look at it a little bit in kind of like a funnel and like a step-by-step approach. The metrics I'm paying attention to are impressions at the top, So are my impressions growing? That is kind of a key metric to tell me more and more people are seeing my products. Not necessarily clicking on them, right? But just seeing them. And then a certain number of those impressions turn into clicks, and that's going to be based on the click-through rate. So as I improve my click-through rate, and my impressions are going up, I hypothetically should get more and more people coming to my listing. And the main factors that affect that are going to be the main image, the price, the reviews, the title, if you're FBA versus FBM, discounts and coupons, and if you have a like a badge, like a bestseller badge. And then a certain number of those people that are in the listing will then convert into sales, and that's going to be based on your conversion rate. And so that is going to be dependent on the rest of your images, the videos, you know, like what Talal was mentioning with, you know, your images should sell your product. I think that's a very big point. And then there's other things like the brand story and premium A+ content and things like that. And so when I'm looking at metrics, I'm looking at, okay, are my impressions going up over time? Yes or no? Is my click-through rate going up over time? Yes or no? And is my conversion rate going up over time? Yes or no? And if those three go up over time, then hypothetically your sales would grow. The second kind of thing that's good that I start looking into is like how effective is my advertising? Because if impressions are going up over time, that's fine, but those clicks can start becoming more and more expensive and result in, you know, okay, yes, I'm getting more and more people in the listing and more of them are converting, but I'm spending way more money, so I'm losing my profits. And that's where it comes down to looking more granularly. And so that funnel that we talked about of the impressions, clicks, and sales, it is also available at each keyword segment. And so I can start looking at each individual keyword and say, what is my click-through rate and my cost per click for that keyword, and what is my conversion rate? And obviously, like when you add them all up, you get the total. But if you break them down individually, you can start isolating each keyword and saying, well, the funnel here is fine. The impressions are good, the clicks are good, the sales are good, and it's enough to justify me spending that money on the ads. So let's keep it running or scale it. And then other keywords, it might not be the case. It might be you're getting impressions, you're getting clicks, but you're not getting any sales. Your conversion rate is 0% on that keyword. And as a result, you need to, you know, lower the bid or pause it so that that funnel can start working, or just stop spending money.
Yeah, I would add one more thing to Mina. So there's like lower the bid, pause it, or revisit the listing to make sure that you are communicating that keyword within the listing so people know that you actually can solve that attribute that people might be looking for or searching for specifically.
Okay, good. Since we got a little bit of a late start, I think there's some confusion around the slides. So do you all want to share your screens with what you wanted to share specifically, or how do you want to go about that? I apologize for the confusion.
I think it's easier if we share our own screens, right? Because we
Okay.
have more control on the slides. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Is there something you'd like to share right now, Mina, or you want to get started, Talal, on some of the points that you wanted to cover?
Yeah, I think Talal can start, and then I can get into the search query performance report with Talal.
Cool. Yeah, I can do that.
And I just want to make sure everyone knows that they can feel free to ask questions along the way too, and put any questions they may have in chat.
So my slides are kind of geared towards probably having been asked a question. So if it does sound a little out of sync, we can move back a little bit, but let's see if this works. So that there's a pretty specific part, you know, when it comes to your search query dashboard and your search term report. Both of these are going to be deriving from like what people are searching for, or you know, the exact term that people are going to be searching. Your search term report is going to come from your sponsored products or sponsored brand, but mostly sponsored products. And then the search query dash, which Mina has a lot of really good stuff on, is going to be coming from, you know, what are people specifically, like what is that derived search that is mostly organic, but not necessarily fully organic, but mostly organic. So the one thing that I just want to make sure that we talk through is a lot of focus, a lot of times is very keyword focused. So when people are doing different lessons, or when you're going through like, you know, different, when I say lessons, I mean like trainings or Amazon trainings, like there's so much focus that people always talk about keyword, keyword, keyword. So there's going to probably be a lot of people here who have a product that has an ambiguous keyword. And this is I guess this is a topic that a lot of people don't really talk through, but we can see it through that we're going to, like through the data, what we're going to see here. So just remember, like, this isn't technical analysis, meaning like there is a big data portion of everything, but you have to also remember, like, not everything is just numbers. You have to also kind of take yourself through that customer journey. And a lot of people, while they're getting fixated on very high volume words, they forget to actually like make sure that that word makes sense for their product. So this is like the idea of an ambiguous keyword. And then you have to formulate a strategy around ambiguous keywords. So I have an example here. So let's say you're selling like a hair wax melter for melting wax for removal or for hair removal. So there's two major keywords here that you could be searching for, right? You could be searching for wax warmer or wax melter, and you'll be able to see that there are just tons of searches around these major root keywords. So you're like, oh, cool. That's what I want to really focus on. I'm going to be putting a lot of my spend on. I really want to rank up. Now, of course, as we all know, like search volume isn't everything, and there's so much more that goes on, and like title density and like all these other things. But for intents and purposes here, we're just going to talk about search volume. So here you are, and you're really focusing, and you want to be page one for this because look at all of these searches. And great root words. But if you actually took the time to search for these two words, wax warmer and wax melter, you'll notice that there are three completely separate products that are correct for this word. So this is what we would consider an ambiguous keyword. And if you're so focused on just wax warmer or wax melter, you're going to realize that there's going to be a lot of customers who are going to be clicking into your thing, into your listing, who have no intent to actually purchase your product. So in this case, a wax warmer or a wax melter could either be something for scented waxes, which is kind of like a candle alternative, the hair removal wax, which is the product, let's say, that we have, or even people who are candle making, right? They get the raw wax beads and then they put them in this warmer, and then they can come up with their molds and whatnot. So this is one thing just to keep in mind when you are looking for those words, is when you notice really, really high volume keywords, just be sure that you are going down that funnel and knowing exactly what the intent of the product is, and then making sure that you're really communicating what that product is in your image and in your title, so you don't get or waste a click. So in this case, we use a software called My Real Profit. I believe Mina does too. Really, really good software that helps with, in fact, I learned about it through watching one of Mina's webinars, and I'm like, what is that he's using? This is awesome. But in this case, this like basically takes in all of your data. And if we're going through search query performance or search term reports, like they're sometimes very, very cumbersome, and you have to like then pivot and make tables. And if you're not good at doing that, this one does a lot of this work for you. So going through our wax warmer and wax melter scenario here, you could see search volumes are awesome week over week, but lots of purchases are happening on those words week over week. But look at my add to cart share and my purchases share for this product, like next to nothing. In fact, we're just talking like a couple of purchases here and there from just like the organically derived keyword. So this is telling you that, these root keywords are exactly what your product is, but maybe the majority of people aren't actually purchasing your product through that root keyword. And then you have to start focusing a lot more on those long tails. So just to go through really quickly on these ones, the next step is like you'd look over onto this side, and this is telling me my week over week PPC spend and my ACOS, not for these specific words. Those are actually the PPC spends and ACOS overall for the whole brand. But you're seeing, okay, so I have about a 20 to 30% ACOS, like we're spending a pretty decent amount week over week, but I'm not getting any sales on these words. So I want to know, like, am I close to this number, my average ACOS across the brand? I feel like I shouldn't be advertising on these terms, right? If you saw these numbers, you would say, no way will I waste money advertising on wax warmer. No way am I going to waste money advertising on wax melter, right? I'm not getting any sales for it. However, if you do look at the search term report, you'll notice that we actually have really good ROAS on those words and ACOS on those words as well, and orders coming from those words. So you may be saying, hey, Talal, you're showing 0 brand purchases in the search query report, but your search term report clearly shows purchases during that time frame as well. And that's because of the way that Amazon does placements on your keywords, right? So it's not necessarily these are top of search. This could be product placement from someone searching for that keyword, and other products are related to this keyword. But the other thing here, just to keep in mind, is if I were to be, pushing a ton of money in top of search keywords, my CPCs would be way higher than 60 cents and 70 cents for these really, really high volume keywords. So good bid management, really keeping attention, really paying attention, not to just say, okay, fine, I really want to be on page 1 for this word, so I'm going to put $7 with 100%, top of search modifier. Basically, this is just the way that our funnel would work when you're looking at these routes and figuring out a good bid management strategy. So I'm going to stop here because I'm sure Mina has some things to talk about on this too.
Yeah. Do you want me to jump into my section? So I'm gonna.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm basically gonna add a little bit on top of what Talal said. But Talal went kind of for a more like unique approach, which I like a lot. I think you'll uncover, some things that you'll miss. Mine is going for the more standard approach, right? So using the search query performance report kind of for standard keywords and simple stuff like that. So I'll share my screen right now. Alrighty. So let me start here. You guys can see my screen? Yes?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So I talked about the funnel, right? And if we talk about the Amazon funnel, it is essentially impressions, clicks, sales, and then eventually repurchases. But what it really looks like is this, right? It looks like impressions, clicks, sales across each individual keyword. So electrolyte supplement, sugar-free hydration powder, MMA electrolytes, sugar-free electrolyte powder. So each individual keyword has its funnel, like I mentioned, and you can get this from the search query performance report. So I want to open up the search query performance report and talk about it a little bit. So I have it here. So we're going to go to Seller Central, brands, brand analytics. Make this big. And then search analytics, search query performance. I'm always going to pick the ASIN view because I want to make sure that I'm picking an individual product. Let me just pick this one. Go for like a weekly or a monthly reporting range. So for the sake of demonstration, it's just going to go monthly, 2024, April, apply. So now it's going to pop open, each keyword out of 1,000, the top 1,000 keywords that my products are, or this specific ASIN is ranking for, with a search query score, which means like this is the most relevant. I don't know exactly how they calculate the score, but here you can see the search volume. So this is how many people are searching this keyword every single month. You can see the total number of impressions. So 7.7 million for this one. And my ASIN got 38,000 of those impressions. So 0.5%. And then so impressions segment here. Next is in the funnel is the clicks. So total 156,000 clicks across all the different products. 46% click rate. My ASIN got 285. So if I divide my ASIN clicks, and I'll show you this later in the spreadsheet, my ASIN clicks divided by my ASIN impressions, that should give me my click-through rate for that individual keyword. And then what my ASIN share is, so my ASIN got 0.18% of all of the clicks, obviously low. Same for add to carts, and then same for purchases. So you can see for each individual keyword, how your product is performing from stage to stage. So how many total impressions there are, what percentage of them you got, and obviously if that's low, you can always get more, and I'll show you how to kind of hone in on that. And then, how many clicks out of all the clicks did you get? How many sales out of all the sales did you get? Now, just looking at this is going to be a little bit hard to process. So what I created is a macro to help us with this. So let me just open it up. So here it is. The data for me seemed like it was missing a little bit. It was missing PPC data, and it was missing ranking data. So I created a macro that combines, you put the Cerebro data here for your product, the search term report data here, and then the search query performance report. And then it will merge them all together to create one single report. Now you'll see the keywords here, the search volume on Cerebro versus search query performance report. I'll go with probably Amazon's SQP data over Cerebro. Then I can see my rank. So why is this important? Because when I start looking at keywords and I start seeing, okay, I have a small impression share for that keyword, I'll next reference my rank. So if my impression share is, 1.9% and my organic and sponsored rank are both low, that tells me I have an opportunity. If I increase my sponsored rank, I'm going to show up more. I'm going to get more impressions. And then, as a result, if I convert well for that keyword, my organic rank will go up and I'll get even more impression. And, next I look at the PPC data. So this also tells me, kind of puts it into perspective. Okay, how am I performing for this keyword? Okay, I have a small amount of impressions. I want to get more impressions. How much am I spending on this keyword? I'm spending $18 only. Well, I can afford to spend maybe an additional $50, or so to show up higher on the search, because I know that my conversion share or my conversion rate for this keyword is high. So let's talk about sorting keywords. So now we have all the data in front of us, and I can see, impressions, clicks, and purchases all in one place. So first I'm going to say, okay, what keywords do I have the best conversion rate on? So I think this is already done. So this is now in descending conversion rate. Next, I only want to pick the ones that actually make sense in terms of search volume. So I don't want to go for ones that are tiny search volume. So 2,000, a little bit low. So this one is good, 32,000. This one is good. This one is good, 28,000. This one is good, 22,000. This one is good, 212,000. Okay. And then I'm going to highlight these just so we can easily see them. And so essentially what I'm looking for here is I'm saying, okay, these keywords I'm converting well for. So 17%, 13%, relative to all the other keywords, I'm converting pretty well for. What is my impression share for those keywords? So in this case, 0.62, 0.74, 1.35, 0.23, 0.28, 0.09. So you can see kind of pretty low. If I sort by impression share, my top is 8%. So 8%, this is for my brand name. And so if I have 8% as the top impression share, that is kind of like the most that I can get because it's for my brand name. So when I look and I say, okay, relatively, I'm getting 0.9%, 0.8%. Let's see, what was it here? Impression share, 0.6%, 0.7%. So 0.6 and 0.7 out of 8% is pretty low, which tells me if I show up higher for those keywords, I'm looking at my conversion and my conversion rate is pretty good for those keywords. So hypothetically, if I show up higher, then I should be able to get more clicks and more sales. And you can see here, right now, you have click share, but you can easily just add a column and call it click-through rate, and then divide your ASIN clicks by your ASIN impressions, turn it into a percent. So there we go. So that's my click-through rate. So in this case, I have a 0.96 click-through rate. This case, 0.97 click-through rate, 0.93. So pretty decent click-through rates, not bad, right? Bad click-through rates would be anything like 0.2 and under. So conversion rate is good, click-through rate is good. The only thing I need to do is get more impressions. Now, am I trying my best to get the most amount of impressions? Let's look at these keywords. No sponsored rank here, no sponsored rank here, no sponsored rank here. Organic rank is pretty low. Same here, same here, same here. So for all of these keywords, knowing that my conversion rate is going to be good once they make it down the funnel, if I just, launch some ads, broad phrase exact for those individual keywords, I should hypothetically go up. Or if I already have them running in ads, but I'm not spending enough money or the bids are too low, if I increase my bids and increase my budgets, I should hypothetically show up a lot higher in the search. I can track that here, in my sponsored rank on in any one of like the keyword tracking tools like Helium 10 or Data Dive. And then I can also, track my organic rank to make sure it's going up. But the most important thing is to make sure that my impression share is going up and my click share and conversion share. My click share is going up. My conversion share is also going up, but my click-through rate and conversion rate isn't going down, because a lot of times as we scale and you get more and more impressions, more people click on you, but your conversion rate goes down because you're scaling. So as long as those don't go down and my impressions go up, I should make more sales from those keywords. So that's essentially kind of my tool and my view of the search keyword performance report, and how I kind of go into each individual keyword on like a single funnel basis. And I look at it, I look at how many impressions I'm getting from it, how many clicks, how many sales, and then now narrow down on what keywords are performing well, and then how can I get more out of those keywords. And then there's also a lot of hidden gems here. Like for example, electrolyte powder packets, right? This is a keyword where I'm getting, well, I have good conversion share on, right? 6.5% conversion share. And there's a ton of search volume, 118,000 search volume. So pretty high, right? Like higher than electrolyte powder or electrolytes powder. And that tells me, okay, I have a powdered container. I should just launch electrolyte powder packets, right? A different variation. And so there is some hidden gems found in the search keyword performance report that tell you what people are searching, especially if they're interacting positively with your product. Like right now, I'm only getting 0.09% of the impression share, but I'm assuming if I launched packets variation and spent money on it, like showing up higher, I would get a much bigger share of those impression shares because it's a directly relevant product versus my container is not packets. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll pause there here for like questions.
Any questions? I don't see any yet.
I saw one come in.
We were able to reply to that
Oh,
privately.
okay, amazing.
Yeah, we got that.
Cool. Talal, what do you think?
Exactly. So I think this is it. Yeah. Just to like hit the nail on the head of what Mina said, we do pretty similar stuff when it comes to like looking at your impression clicks and like what we call like the customer journey. So that's like the brand over brand, right? Or brand overall. And so exactly like you said, like looking at the macro and the micro metrics. So for the SQP, so macro being all of Amazon versus what your brand's version are. Again, looking at these like really, really high search query, low tail keywords, right? Root keywords. If you're noticing that your add to carts and your purchase, like your specific one, the one that Mina just showed you that his calculation for is really high, but your impressions are super low. I mean, that definitely shows you that there is a lot of opportunity at scale, provided, all things being equal, right? Which is that the conversion rate at least remains somewhat the same. And just as Mina said, the more traffic you start to extend out, the less that conversion rate is going to be. But of course, you then have to do some really good bid management to make sure that it remains profitable. One other thing when you are talking about that is when sales do drop off, even though you are ranked, or not just ranked, but have really high conversion rate, just keep in mind that like every single year there are more products that are coming into Amazon in your space, right? Those people are going to be driving up cost per clicks, making things more expensive. 2016, 2018, when this product launched, like we were absolutely crushing it for keto, sugar-free candy, chocolate, right? It was so easy. Come 2024, like the cost per clicks for these words, which used to be in the cents, are now sometimes even more expensive than the product itself. And so you do have to realize that like there is a race to the bottom, and then you have to just become more creative, keep the the conversion rates high and whatnot. So everything that Mina said, same. Like that. Right. That's exactly how to do it.
We do have some questions that have rolled in. So the first question is from Syed. He asked, can you guide about the strategy to rank a deranked product? Any answers for him?
Yeah, I can share my strategy. I usually use PPC. And so single keyword campaign. So let's say, I'm trying to rank a deranked product, on a certain number of campaigns. First of all, I'll check indexation. So I'll make sure that it's indexing for those keywords. I'll maybe change the title and the bullet points in the backend search terms a little bit to make sure like Amazon gets a little bit of a refresh. And I'll do that through flat files because usually that works the best. And then from there, I'll create single keyword campaigns for the keywords that I want to rank for. One campaign for broad, one campaign for phrase, one campaign for exact. One thing that I learned from Ritu is also using video ads campaigns help with indexation a lot faster. So I would run a few of those just for the sake of indexing. And then from there, high bids, high budgets. If you're getting impressions and you're getting clicks, you're good. If you're not, you have an indexation problem that you need to solve. But if you are getting clicks and sales, I can actually show you my tracking sheet really quick. This is kind of part of the presentation. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so move this down. So like we mentioned, single keyword campaigns, and then I have a tracking sheet here. So let's say it's electrolyte powder. I'm tracking my total spend, and if I have presence in broad, fairs, and exact, and also tracking my organic and sponsored rank over time. And as my organic rank goes up, I'll slowly start to taper down the ad spend and then hold it for a little bit. Hold it for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. That should be kind of enough time for your keyword to rank, and then start bringing it down. If I start bringing it down and my ranking goes down right away, you probably have not a good enough click-through rate and conversion rate to sustain your rank on that keyword. But that's essentially, how I re-rank deranked products.
Okay. Talal, do you have anything to add to that, or I'll go on to the next question?
No,
Okay. A previous question that's not showing right now is it feasible to incorporate advanced AI tools for data analysis and machine learning to gain deep insights into the customer demographics and behaviors, thereby enhancing our marketing strategies and maximizing ROI?
I don't know this one. Talal, what do you think?
yeah, neither do I. I mean, that's all the buzzwords right now is a lot of AI stuff. But if you are going to be using like some ways to help you segment the different, segment your different customers, right? Like based on throwing in all of your reviews into like some parsing tool that can then tell you like what are people saying good and bad about your product, and then you can use that to inform how you want to discuss the product. You could also, if you're like on Shopify and stuff like that as well, and you actually know who your customer is and have like their demographic details, you'll be able to get a little bit better of an understanding based on that, depending on what you're collecting. So we just would advise using it to parse and understand your clients much more so than there's so many people out there that are way better at AI than I am. And like, if you want to follow like Amy Weiss or
Ritu probably talks about it too.
Yeah. And the guy with the cap that lives in Las Vegas with the cowboy hat, I can't remember what his name is, but he's also really good about stuff like this as well.
Yeah. Not too sure either, honestly.
Bradley.
Bradley?
Is that who you're talking about with the hat?
No.
Oh.
No. I know who he's talking about. He has like a cowboy hat.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah.
Brian.
Okay. Another question from Edgar is talking about the brand analysis. When you have variations, do you have to do it for all the variations or only the one with the bigger sales?
I'll let you do this one. How do you handle that one? And then I'll give my 2 cents.
Yeah, so it just depends on how much of the sale occurs in that variation. So usually like if you have like a pack size, right? 1 pack, 2 pack, 3 pack, the 1 pack is going to have the most of the data within that search query performance report, because that's what people are pretty much clicking into. When you have different like flavors, that one gets a little bit trickier. I like how Mina does like to look at ASINs one by one. The issue with that is sometimes you're going to have fall off on the query words. So like people might probably be coming in on different words and then purchasing another one. So I don't know. How do you handle that, Mina?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think generally the biggest one is usually the most accurate. But there's going to be the issue of they see the impressions, they see one, and then they click on it, and then they go and they convert or add to cart and convert on a different variation. And so I think combining sometimes the keywords to see how the product performs overall is great. So just adding all of the values of the impressions and the clicks and all that kind of stuff, and kind of creating like a combined search query performance report. But then I would always look at the biggest one. And generally when I run my ads, like I'll add all the variations in a campaign and then leave it running for, let's say, a week, and then go and see which one has the best, impressions and click-through rate and sales overall. And usually the one that's driving the most amount of traffic is the one that I'll keep on, and then I'll pause the other ones. So it'll usually be indicative of like, that's the one that we should be checking out in the search query performance report.
Okay. Tyler asked, how does this work if we do not own a brand and are a reseller?
I don't think you get access to the search query report unless you are an authorized brand owner.
Yeah, it's because it's brand analytics.
Okay. Okay. Jonathan asked that he asked, what kinds of numbers of impressions, CTR, CVR would you look for during a product launch?
The $1 billion question, right?
Yeah,
It's the one that the answer that everyone's going to hate, right? It's depends. I mean, you have to compare yourself to what so if you go to your like advertising dashboard, you could do like your brand metrics and you could see what the median brand metrics are for your type of your product category and try to be within that top tier. That's usually how I benchmark. Or if you have someone like a SaaS core representative or an Amazon account manager, they can dive into the I think it's called like the Hawk IDP report or something like that. And they can get you some really deep data on your competitors' ASINs. You feed them, you say brand A, brand B, brand C, and then they'll give you some de-identified information that you can probably guess which one is which. So I like to benchmark myself to other people based on those two. What do you do, Mina?
Yeah, honestly, we follow our core value, which is 1% better every day. And I don't think it matters what other people's impressions are or click-through rate or conversion rate is, because no matter what, it doesn't affect you, right? Like if you know what their conversion rates are, like, are you just going to quit if their conversion rate is a lot better than yours? I don't think that's a good kind of mindset. So it's just a matter of, in terms of click-through rate and conversion rate, what can I do every single day to improve my click-through rate? What can I do to improve my conversion rate? How can I get more reviews? How can I have better creatives? All that kind of stuff. And in terms of traffic, it's, when you launch, it's just growing your traffic every day. That's pretty much it. And so I wouldn't try and benchmark other products because each one has a very unique individual story. Some of them they exist outside of Amazon. Some of them have 20,000 reviews. Some of them have a different, strategy than you. Some of them have never run out of inventory and you have. So it's never going to be apples to apples. I think the only thing is how can I do better than I was yesterday? And that's pretty much it.
Good.
It's very Taoist of you, Mina.
Yeah.
Corrales asks, is this sheet available in your toolbox, Mina? And I believe it is, right?
Yeah. And then
Okay.
Ecom Engine is going to be offering that sheet to everyone.
Right. Exactly. Perfect. And Syed asked, which one is preferable to remain relevant to Amazon algorithm? Keyword targeting, product targeting, or external traffic?
I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, how would we know, right? Like, we don't have access to Amazon's algorithm, but I think keyword and product targeting both, like I've seen anecdotally, keyword targeting obviously helps index and get you a lot of relevant traffic. And then I've also experimented with targeting very big competitors right off the bat, and I've seen that help with the relevance, but I don't have like an exact answer because I don't know how their algorithms work.
Okay. One other question, when launching a product on Amazon, how long will you give testing a word with bad ROAS and ACOS performance? How much time do we need in order to understand if it may work or not?
Talal, what's your take on this one?
So there's like the kind of rule of thumb that a lot of different PPC operators would probably use, whether it's like 10 clicks or a dollar figure or 20 clicks or like 3 weeks with no sales. There's some times where the data is just as good as knowing that there are no sales, which is like, for example, if I had like a deodorant for stinky feet and I know that it works well for stinky feet and everyone says it does and everyone loves that product, but then you look at your search query or search term reports and you're absolutely getting hammered for it, what do you do? So I wouldn't turn that ad off at that point, I would say, okay, why isn't our product communicating that this is a key selling point for us or a unique selling point for us? And then that allows you to then go and revisit that keyword, revisit that listing, and really try to make sure that it converts. Now, on other times, some things just absolutely won't work. At that point, you just have to kind of look at it in an overall blended situation on whether or not the products tacos, we call it tacos, but like the products tacos overall is meeting your profitability goals or not. And it could be harmful, right? If you're getting all of these clicks for a word and getting no conversions, like you're signaling to Amazon that you are not relevant for that word at all. So you have to just kind of go and make that decision, that gut instinct. I don't really have a hard and fast rule. It's different client to client, but yeah, I could say 10 clicks. I could say $100. I don't know. It just depends.
Yeah, for me, I do have a hard number, and it's when launching, about 75% of the product price with no sales would be enough to add it as a negative, or over 100% ACOS with 2 sales or less. And then once I'm a little bit more kind of matured, the product, it's going to be about 50% of the product sale price. So if it's a $30 product, $15 in spend and no sales, or 85% ACOS or more, 2 sales or less. Again, this can change. So this is just a general guideline, but if you start adding negatives and you notice that or lowering bids or whatever for high ACOS keywords, and you start noticing the performance is not getting better, it's getting worse, you can reverse that and say, okay, maybe I'm a little bit over constrained. Maybe I should only add negatives to 100% spend and no sales, or 120% ACOS or more. And so with Amazon, it's very iterative. Like, I can give you a rule, but if I change a few things here and then I see, oh, it's getting better, perfect, I'm going to do more of that. If I change a few things, I'm like, oh, it's getting worse, I'm going to change it back. And that's kind of how it works.
And then I would just add one more thing to that is when you make like exactly like Mina said, like adding in just based on the macro, but like when you make a decision, you don't have to stick by that decision forever down the line, because you could just not be doing well because your review count is really low or the product is still kind of new. And so maybe you're not winning on those general terms immediately, but if you're noticing that there is some uptick in velocity, you might want to revisit bringing those words back in at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more. What is the attribution window for SQR? I have more organic sales than in reality that those show in the report, and what to understand where the difference is.
Yeah, I honestly don't have an answer for that. So my biggest takeaway is take the search query performance report at face value. It's not like, it's again something that you can use, like I said, as an indicator of like, oh, maybe I should try this, and then launch the keyword or increase the bids and then see the overall effect on your sales. But it's not something that you're like, this is the Bible, like I'm gonna follow it to the T. I don't know why the numbers don't add up in search query performance report and your total sales numbers. But yeah, I mean, that's typical Amazon stuff.
Yeah, it's a directional indicator, right? And you use that as just one tool with the many other tools together.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan asked, what's a quick way to check to see if a product is indexing for a term?
Helium 10 index checker.
Yeah.
All right, we've gotten our questions. Any other highlights y'all want to talk about? We are still open for some questions if anyone else has any questions.
I did have one more slide I could show.
Oh yeah, please
do.
And this is one that I guess we were kind of talking about relevancy a lot, or like what's better, external traffic or product targeting. So you have to think of systems, how the systems are built for the biggest stakeholder. And when you're doing ads, the biggest stakeholder here is, of course, Amazon. And does Amazon really care if the product is getting sold, or do they care more about the ad revenue? So the one metric, just from a systems perspective to think about, is like Amazon advertising is not a fair bidding system. So everyone calls it a second party auction. And yes, it is a second party auction in the sense that a bid plus one technically should win, but that just means you win one component of the overall like impression, I would call it impression score. So for example, if I were to launch an electrolyte product tomorrow to compete with Mina, I assure you that my bid will have to be higher than Mina's bid by a pretty significant number for Amazon to win that impression in that slot that Mina is on. And in the same breath, if Mina is going to go against Mina, what's a big brand in your
Liquid IV.
Like Liquid IV. I assure you, Liquid IV is paying less CPC for the same exact words that Mina is paying for as well. And the reason being is Amazon is looking at revenue per impression, right? Which is going to be the average CPC across all the different people over the number of impressions that are being shown. Because if Amazon puts your ad in a inventory spot and no one clicks on that ad, does Amazon get any money for that? So in that
It
case,
loses money.
They're
It
losing
loses money. Yeah, because no ad revenue and no sale. So no FBA fee and no 15% commission.
Exactly. And so like think of ad spots, right? Those 4 spots at the top and those 4 in the middle and that big banner at the top. Think of those as products in like this in the CPG world. Your impression is a shelf space if you were in a retail store, and then the click is the purchase. And if you were trying to get into Target or trying to get into Walmart, they're not going to give you that spot unless they know people are at least going to stop and browse and maybe put it in their cart and sell it. So it's just think of it from like regular, supply and demand. And this is why people talk a lot about relevancy. People talk about quality of ad. People talk a lot about sending external traffic helps your ads, but no one can ever explain why external traffic sells your ads. The reason being is the velocities are indicating to Amazon that this product is going to get sold. So therefore you're going to get a higher relevancy score and therefore have that ad impression for a lot less.
Okay.
Very good point.
Swastik asks, how can I effectively utilize AWS or Google Cloud for better traffic data analysis and targeted advertising for my fashion brand? What is the recommended minimum monthly budget for advertising to achieve significant results?
I've never used AWS or Google Cloud.
Do you mean Amazon Cloud?
Or what is the new one? Yeah, Amazon Marketing Cloud.
Yeah, Amazon Marketing
said
Cloud.
AWS or Google Cloud, but
AWS is Amazon Web Services. Is basically like a data holding kind of platform, right? That's where like a lot of people will store like their servers will be on AWS. So yeah, I'm not sure if it has data. I think it's just a data storage service.
okay, we'll see if he asks any follow-up to that. We have always seen 100% featured offers on our dashboard. Is it a good sign?
That
means you're
probably
winning
means
the buy box.
Yeah, it probably means that there's no one competing for your buy box, which yeah, it's definitely a good sign. If you start losing the buy box, it either means there's a hijacker on your listing, someone else selling your product, or it means that you are doing something wrong, like increasing your price too much, and they took away the buy box from you, and they're only giving you the add to cart button.
Or another big box retailer has it for cheaper is another thing to check out.
Yeah,
Walmart.
yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. Is it possible to make Amazon listing from unbranded to branded without deleting listing?
Yeah, I've been able to change my brand name once, but it's very hard. I mean, you might have to delete the listing and then download the flat file, delete the listing, change it, upload it with the new flat file. But Vanessa Hung is probably the best person for that kind of stuff.
Okay. How much is the impact of negative reviews on established product sales? What strategy you adopt if you get 2 or 3 negative reviews consecutively? I'm asking based on experience, not stats based.
Yeah, very negative, very bad. I mean, also depends on how many reviews you have. If you have 20 reviews and you get 3 negative ones, it's going to destroy your star rating, which is also going to destroy your conversion rate. How to adopt your strategy is you would have to lower the bids across a lot of your keywords to not be spending because your conversion. So remember the funnel, like the funnel was working fine. And then all of a sudden that bottom of the funnel conversion rate like broke. And now you're like selling way less for everything else being the same, which means your, ad cost is gonna be more than your sales. The way I would change my strategy is lower the bids and everything, and then also aggressively go after getting like 20 5-star reviews.
And you can get those reviews, Mina, how? By
Using
using feedback 5. Great, great. Any other questions? Oh, we do have somebody that says, congrats, Mina, on your wedding. Welcome back home. That's from Leon.
Thank you, Leon. I appreciate it. I appreciate you always tuning in for support.
Any other things that you all would like to cover, guys?
I think we're good. I think we covered like a good amount.
Yes, very informative. Any other questions from our participants? Oh, I do have one. The ability to collect and analyze data is clearly important, but what are the 3 main things to look for when hiring a PPC manager?
They dark and handsome like me and Mina.
Exactly. Okay, so well, Talal, actually, I want to hear your feedback first on that question. What to look for in a PPC manager?
I think real experience is kind of the big thing that I'd like to look for, which is understanding the fundamentals of PPC across not just Amazon, but just how it works in general, and any sort of like track record. It's really easy to sniff out PPC managers who have just graduated a course recently. And I would advise to avoid giving those people your what's it called your business reins. I also always, and I think Mina subscribes to this school of thought as well, which is you need to really know what you're doing before you pass it off to someone else. Your understanding will allow you to speak more, allow you to communicate more intelligently, will allow you to collaborate. Sometimes you see things your PPC manager won't see, and vice versa. So like we have a very collaborative approach with our clients. And Mina, if you have anything else to add to that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned some really good points. The real experience is very, very important. High attention to detail. So these are people that are like very responsible and won't look the other way when things are a little bit hard, because sometimes like there's a lot of tedious tasks. They have to be willing to do the tedious tasks. Also, communication skills have to be on point, and they need to be able to give you updates. They need to explain to you what's happening, what they're trying. They need to be very proactive. They can't be robotic. They have to be strategic thinkers. And so like we kind of build a framework around strategy. So what are we doing, on the traffic side? Are we scaling? Are we optimizing for profit? What are we doing on the click-through rate side? What are we doing on the conversion rate side? What are we doing to improve average order value, lifetime value? What are opportunities for growth? Now, if you think your PPC manager only needs to know PPC, that is a thing of the past. It doesn't work like that anymore. PPC touches so many things. So the PPC manager needs to be a full-on Amazon strategist. They need to understand how price affects them, how main image affects them, how all this other stuff. They don't need to do the work, right? But they need to say, hey, I'm optimizing the ads and all that kind of stuff. But I think the next move is we need to improve our premium A+ content, because that will improve our conversion rate, which will in turn improve the ads that they're running. And so it's things like that, just understanding the overall strategy of a brand are very important. But those are kind of the main things that we look for. I would say also have really good Excel skills. If they are going to be a good manager, PPC manager, they need to be able to work very comfortably in bulk sheets and to be, comfortable with it.
If you are hiring someone in-house, I would definitely second what Mina said and give them a case using an Excel sheet that and to try to do like some technical stuff, throw in and pepper in some mistakes in there. So to see if they have that attention to detail that Mina talked about. Like we find case interviews pretty, what's it called? And unfortunately, watch them solve it live, even if you have to like stick on the phone, because like right now with Chat GPT, lots of people can like figure out the issues very, very quickly. And like what you used to be able to send and then receive, you have to put a little bit more pressure on that now.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody did ask so should they learn PPC?
The
Mina's
PPC University.
Okay.
PPC University.
I'll send you I'll send everyone, well, I'll send actually you guys the link.
Okay. Yeah.
It's theppcuniversity.com, but yeah, you can share it. But yeah, that's my full, like everything I know about PPC
Perfect.
in kind of a like a step-by-step video guide.
Good. Good. And somebody did ask, what is it a big difference with and without A+ content?
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Talal, I don't know if you want to add, but I think it's a huge difference with A+ content, and it's an even bigger difference with premium A+ content.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's everything. I think we're almost at time. Did you all want to mention your specials that you're going to be offering for the folks that were attending today?
Yeah, Talal, go ahead.
Unfortunately, we're at capacity right now. So
That's a
I'd
good
be
problem
happy
to have.
if anyone needs, like, if anyone has any questions, of course, feel free to shoot them to me. I'm happy to, do some general answering based on my knowledge and stuff like that. But it's all you, Mina. For me,
Yeah.
it's much more general right now.
Yeah, for us, we're offering a full free Amazon account audit and a marketing strategy. So we'll take a look at your account and we'll give you kind of step-by-step actionable insights on everything that you need to do to improve your listing, your ads, things like in the data dive or in the search group performance report, things like that. I sent the link in the chat, but you can go to triviumco.com. And then you'll see the get a free audit button. Click on that, and then just mention that you came from this ecom engine webinar, so I can approve you. Otherwise, we don't approve, all the audits.
Do we have time for one more question? I've got somebody that's asking about what is custom advertising solution on Amazon and how it works. Do we have time for that?
I'm not sure what the custom advertising solution is.
Neither do I.
Okay, well, sorry, Swastik.
Swastik, I feel his questions are like for a different platform, like Google Ads or something, because I didn't understand any of the AWS or stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Swastik, but feel free to reach out to us for any additional questions, and I'll help you as much as I can.
Right. Well, I appreciate y'all taking the time. This was a really informative one. We had some great attendees and great questions. So thanks so much.
Is there going to
Awesome.
be a
Thank you,
recording?
guys.
Yep, we will have a recording. We will share it.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mina. Thank you, Becky.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.